I'm not even gonna bother with a fancy little intro or anything like that. Because at the time of this recording, I had just got done watching Supergirl, and uh, look, I have uh, I have always been someone trying to give some amount of leeway when it comes to James Gunn. I know that at least in the circles I travel around, everyone's more or less just thrown in the towel when it comes to him and the stuff he's doing with DC. And even on the stuff that I do like, I do acknowledge that there were some blunders that I think could have been avoided. And Supergirl, I was really hoping that it would be better than what it was, you know, but as time progressed, as the marketing was kind of bad, the actress kind of just started saying a lot of things that was not really helping the situation. The people behind the movie that were selected, even the source material that they were using, just not really worth a damn. And this movie was just kind of a resounding meh, like just kind of boring. Like there really wasn't really anything to it, and you would think, okay, there's a simple story to this, right? Because it's Supergirl goes after a bad guy because the bad guy poisoned Crypto, and he's got the antidote. So it's like okay, and you on paper that's supposed to work, right? Like when the dog gets hurt, the audience immediately wants the worst things to happen to the bad guy, and they're in full support of this of the main character, right? You would think. But in that line that's a problem because at least from where I've seen a lot of people they're either just okay with Crypto or they outright hate him, and I can understand why. Me, I was kind of just okay. And even in this movie, where he's supposed to be like the driving force behind it, it's just not really there. And this version of Kara, like, yeah, they're trying to go with this, like, Woman of Tomorrow from Tom King, but it doesn't even feel like it works there because in that one, as much as I hate having to like give Tom King praise, at least in that one, like Carr was far more established as a heroic character and just was kind of just doing her thing. Here, it's just not so much. It's like they want to play it off like she's still so broken down and like dealing with all this bullshit and just wants to numb herself to all the pain, which on paper it's not a bad concept because if you really think about it, Kara kind of has a little bit more of a raw deal than Clark did when it comes to Krypton because she's lived on Krypton. She remembers it. She's been there. She knows what it's like. So she's kind of lost everything while Clark never really knew what he lost. So you kind of had that going on for it. So she's got to try to adjust to all these things. But in this movie, you don't really feel like you give a shit for her. And I can't really say whether it's the actress or just the writing or a combination of all of them. Because Millie Alcock, I'm I'm not so certain because I'm only ever seen her in this role, so I don't know what her acting ability is. I never really saw her as the ideal choice for Kara. I thought they should have went with the other option they had, which was Meg Donnelly, who is a good actress on her own right, and she's actually played Kara before in some animated movies. Why they didn't pick her, I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. You're just kind of left not really caring all that much for her. So and it really affects it when you don't care about the main protagonist. A lot of the action scenes you don't really care about. You don't care that, oh wow, this is getting a little heated for our main protagonist. It's like, because no. And I'm not just speaking of like, oh well, it's Supergirl. Of course she's gonna be overpowered, so they gotta come up with convoluted ways to like nerf her. And it's like, no, you just kind of don't care. Even when there's like moments where you're, because they do a lot of planet hopping here, where she's on like multiple planets with varying degrees of like red and yellow suns. And when she's on a yellow sun planet, you don't feel like, oh man, this is cool or epic, because you don't really care for the character. You know, like it's just nothing there. And the side character Roof, who's meant to be like the secondary driving force, she just kind of meh. Like she's meant to be like this person that's trying to push Kara to being more than just getting drunk off her mind and all that stuff. But her character story is just kind of bland. There's nothing really to it. Uh, it kind of gets a little less unbelievable with some of the fights. Because there's like a whole scene where she takes on this giganto sized Chungus man, and she's like 13. I think she's like 13 or 14. They say in the movie, and like she's like a fifth of this guy's size, and somehow she's able to strangle him and kill him. And it's like, that's not how that works at all. And it's like, and it's not like with Kara where you could say, okay, Kryptonian powers. No, this kid does not have powers or any abilities or anything like that. She's just more or less a normal human. And that's it. And like she's desperate for revenge, but Kara's like, no, you don't want to do that because that's gonna mess you up inside. Which is like, okay, that's not a terrible, uplifting idea, but it does feel contradictory when Kara is kind of more or less killing or seriously maiming some people, sometimes a little bit unnecessary. Uh, and then at the end, she kills the villain, who is very forgettable. I mean, like, granted, the original character from the books is not anything special. I mean, he was like, the only major difference was like there was more of a like John Carter like design for those characters. Well, here it's like very generic Mad Max like style, which does not really work, you know? And it just feels like a watered down, distilled Guardians of the Galaxy style thing, which is not very good, you know? Uh, if I really had to say if there was anything decent about it, it was Jason Momoa's Lobo, because it was Lobo doing Lobo things. It was entertaining at the very least. It like made me go, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." And it made me go, "I kind of want to see more Lobo." As few and far between his scenes were. It made me go, "Oh, I kind of want to watch that." Other than that, this movie was just eh, like, and not a good start, and like, not a good way to continue off the DC movie universe. Uh, I felt nothing with this character. There was no really arc for her, for Kara. Like, they want to make it like where at the end of the movie she like learns to be like a better person and all that, but it just doesn't feel like you really did anything with her. So you just don't believe it. You just don't believe that she's like changed for the better. It's just like, okay, that's it. I just I feel like there was so much wrong with this. I think the script was terrible. The source material, I feel like, was a bad call to use. Because was not really a good story. And then just giving it to people who don't who only maybe made like two movies, I feel like you shouldn't just be giving them these like multi-million dollar projects like this when they barely had like five movies under their belt. Like, just no. I would, as much as I'd love to be an optimist and try to give hope, I definitely would not recommend watching this. Just no. It's like I'd say if anything, just wait for when this comes out on YouTube and you can just go look at all the Lobo scenes, and that's about it. Everything else is just bad and kind of boring, which I didn't want it to be. Like, I wanted this to be a good movie. I was hoping it would be a good movie, but it's not even average. It's just boring. And that's kind of the worst thing you could get out of a movie. Like, not offensively bad, just boring. Just boring.